Victor Wembanyama. There are talented players, skilled players, players who outwork everyone else in the gym. And still, all of them follow a logic, an invisible structure that defines what's possible and what simply isn't. In basketball, that's always been crystal clear. The big men own the paint, the quick guys own the perimeter, and the special ones pick a lane and become the best at it. That's how the game works, always has. Until something strange started happening. A player showed up, too tall to play like a point guard, too light to play like a center, and too complete to fit into any definition the game had ever written. Victor Wembanyama. He shouldn't exist. And if you're the kind of guy who loves stories that make you question what seems impossible, then this channel is for you. Because what you're about to see isn't just about basketball. It's about the moment when reality itself starts to break down. The game system. Victor Wembanyama shouldn't exist. Not in this sport, not in this era, and definitely not the way he plays. Because when you look at him, something doesn't add up. The movements are too fluid for someone that size. The decisions come too fast for someone with that little experience. And the confidence, it seems to come from a place nobody can explain. And maybe the strangest part of all is that he doesn't look like he's trying to prove anything. Like all of it just comes naturally. Like the impossible was never a limitation to begin with. For decades, basketball followed unwritten rules. Not in the rule book, but deeply respected. Basketball wasn't just a game. It was a system, a set of ideas built over time, refined by generations, and accepted without question. Because when something works, nobody stops to ask why. They just keep doing it. And in basketball, that created a kind of natural order. If you were big, your place was near the basket, protecting the rim, owning the space, playing with your back to the defense, imposing your will, using size as the ultimate weapon. If you were smaller but quick, you played on the outside, creating plays, controlling the tempo, reading the floor, manufacturing opportunities where none existed before. And if you were truly special, you picked your lane and spent years perfecting every detail, every move, every decision, every fraction of a second. The game demanded specialization. It demanded definition. It demanded limits. And for a long, long time, that made sense. Because the human body has limits. Physics imposes limits. The game itself reinforces those limits. And for a long, long time, nobody tried to push past them. Because stepping outside that pattern wasn't just hard. It was seen as wrong, a lack of discipline, someone who hadn't learned to play the right way. And that's exactly why what came next was so disorienting. Las Vegas, 2022. The night everything changed. It was October of 2022. An 18-year-old kid from France landed in Las Vegas. Not to play in the NBA, not yet, but to face the G League Ignite, the team built from the NBA's most prized prospects. Sitting in that arena were executives, coaches, and scouts from all 30 NBA franchises. Because the name of that kid had been circulating for months. But nobody had seen him play in person. Not really. And then, he walked onto the court. At 7 feet 4 inches tall, he handled the ball like a point guard, shot from 3 like a wing, and swatted shots like a classic center, but from an angle no center could ever reach. First game, 37 points, 7 threes, 5 blocks. The scouts couldn't believe what they were watching. One of them, speaking anonymously to ESPN, said, "He's not just a generational talent. He's a talent with the power to change the league forever." That night, LeBron James was watching a Lakers game just a few miles away. When he walked off the court, someone asked him about the French kid. His answer became legend. Everybody's been calling guys unicorns for the last few years, but he's more like an alien. I've never seen anybody that tall, but that fluid and that graceful on the floor. He's like a taller Kevin Durant who blocks shots, and he's not even close to what he's going to be. The basketball world had just met Wembanyama, and nothing would be the same again. The draft and the arrival in the NBA. In June of 2023, the San Antonio Spurs won the draft lottery. The same franchise that had once selected David Robinson, then Tim Duncan, two of the greatest big men this game has ever seen. And now, they were taking Victor Wembanyama, the most anticipated #1 pick since LeBron James in 2003. When Wemby arrived in San Antonio, he was welcomed like a hero. Murals went up on walls across the city. People chanted his name in the streets. And his head coach, Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, a man who thought he'd seen everything, said publicly, "I have never seen anything like him in my entire life." And Popovich was there for Robinson. He was there for Duncan. He watched decades of this league evolve, and still said he'd never seen anything like it. Rookie season. Numbers that shouldn't exist. In his rookie season, at just 19 years old, Wembanyama did something nobody had done before. In his first 5 NBA games, he became the first player since Shaquille O'Neal in 1999 to score 100 points and record more than 10 blocks. Shaquille O'Neal, one of the 3 greatest centers to ever lace the knob. That's who you're comparing a 19-year-old to. And by the end of that first season, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3.6 blocks per game, NBA leader. As a center, as a point guard, as someone who simply didn't belong to any position. He had a game where he dropped 40 points, 20 rebounds, 7 assists against the New York Knicks. Another where he put up 30 points, 7 blocks, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists against Portland. And then there was one night when he scored 17 points in under 3 minutes against the Denver Nuggets, the reigning NBA champions. 3 minutes. Solo. Dismantling the champions. At the end of that season, he was named Rookie of the Year, unanimously. And he also made the NBA All-Defensive Team, something no rookie had pulled off in decades, in the same season. Scoring, defending, rewriting the game. The Paris Olympics. An alien comes home. In 2024, Wembanyama went home. The Olympic Games were in Paris, the city where he grew up, just 12 miles from the arena. And he was the leader of the French national team. He carried them all the way to the Olympic gold medal game against the United States, with LeBron, Curry, Durant, the most loaded team American basketball has ever put together. France lost, but Wembanyama had done something rare, something that goes way beyond the scoreboard. At 20 years old, with less than a year of NBA basketball under his belt, he was in an Olympic final as the best player on a basketball powerhouse. That's not potential, that's delivery. Second season, the awakening. In the second season, something shifted. If his rookie year was impressive, now he was dominating. In November of 2024, against the Washington Wizards, Wembanyama dropped 50 points. 50 points. On 62% shooting from the field, 8 of 16 from 3, and he still had 3 blocks. A center, shooting threes with the frequency and efficiency of an elite point guard, and still locking down the paint like it was untouchable. In January of 2025 against Denver, he grabbed 23 rebounds in a single game. In December against Sacramento, he dished out 11 assists, with 34 points and 14 rebounds in that same game. A triple-double wasn't the exception anymore. It was the standard. And at the end of that season, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 3.8 blocks. NBA leader for the second straight year. At just 21 years old. The weight of being different. But when something doesn't make sense, the world doesn't accept it. It questions, it doubts, it tries to fit it in a box. Because the unknown makes people uncomfortable. The different creates resistance. And everything that falls outside the norm has to be explained or dismissed. And with Victor Wembanyama, it was no different. From the start, the doubts came pouring in. This isn't gonna last. That body won't hold up. The league will figure him out. It's just a matter of time. Because it's more comfortable to believe that something extraordinary is temporary than to accept that maybe we're standing in front of something we've never seen. Something we don't fully understand yet. And this doesn't just happen in sports. It happens everywhere. Every time someone tries to break out of the mold, every time someone refuses to accept the ceiling, the reaction is always the same. First, the doubt, then the criticism, and only much later comes the acceptance. But until then, the price is high. Because living outside the pattern means playing without a blueprint, no comparison, no roadmap, no safety net. It means standing alone. And maybe that's the part nobody talks about. It's not just about talent. It's not just about skill. It's about carrying the weight of being something nobody understands yet. And still showing up. If you've ever felt that way, you know exactly what we're talking about. The revelation. But what if the problem was never him? What if all those doubts, all those criticisms, all those attempts to explain him away were pointing in the wrong direction? Because maybe the discomfort doesn't come from what he does. It comes from what it reveals. A longer pause. It reveals that the game wasn't as complete as we thought. It reveals that the limits weren't exactly limits. It reveals that many of the rules were never laws. They were interpretations. A deeper pause. And that changes everything. Because the moment you realize that something you thought was absolute was actually just one way of seeing things, you're not just witnessing something new. You're being forced to unlearn, to question, to rebuild everything you thought you understood. And that is uncomfortable. Because it's so much easier to tell yourself someone is an exception than to accept that the entire system might be incomplete. A longer pause. And maybe that's exactly what Victor Wembanyama represents. Not an anomaly, not an accident. A signal. A signal that the game hasn't hit its ceiling yet. That the impossible, deep pause, might just be waiting for someone willing to ignore it. Every so often, someone comes along and not just plays the game, they change how it's seen. Not because they tried, not because they planned it, but simply because they didn't fit. And instead of adjusting, they forced the world around them to do it instead. Victor Wembanyama isn't just a different kind of player. He's a breaking point. A moment when everything that seemed settled starts to be questioned. And when that happens, the game doesn't go back to what it was. Because once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And maybe, a few years from now, what seems impossible today becomes the new standard. And everything that seemed absurd becomes expected. The way it always goes, when someone decides to go further than they were taught. Victor Wembanyama is not just the future of basketball. He's the signal that the future has already arrived. And if stories like this make you see the world differently, then this channel is for you. Because here, we don't just talk about great players. We talk about what makes someone unforgettable. A legend. And the most incredible part is that the game is still trying to figure him out. Stay with us to find out who carries the champion's DNA next.